Hey, what's up guys, it's Red here with finally another Kagurabachi video. This time it's a little different as it's a theory video, kinda, sorta. Mainly speculation, but whatever. One day I'll make another video like before about the remaining 2 enchanted blades, if, we ever get to see them. Anyways, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Let me know what kind of videos I should do if I were to make more Kagurabachi content in the comments below, or any other anime, manga, or even video game content. Cause I might go back into making Fire Emblem stuff. Also, become a channel member if you want. But whatever, let's just get into it. What I do want to say first is that Samura is a traitor. Kinda, sorta, not really, but still. What this video will be about is about the Kamunabi member who leaked the location of Kunishige Rokuhira, and is probably still working for the Kamunabi and leaking insider information to the Hishaku. This is mainly why people and I talk about it. The potential of them still being around is the reason why people and I talk about it. Anyways, straight to the point. The first one is probably the most boring one, and the Kamunabi insider is just a random person. And like I said, this one is super boring and I kinda hope it isn't true. I do have to say that most Kamunabi members didn't have insider information like Kunishige Rokuhira's location, so it's probably someone higher up in the Kamunabi. Well, unless the Kamunabi insider wasn't meant to have the info and just snooped around and stuff. Though there was a traitor of those sorcerers who kept up the barriers for the Kamunabi headquarters. And this person is one of the few trusted enough to keep the barriers up for the whole place. But I doubt that this guy is the insider, since it would have been more focused on and not just some sort of quick capture for him. He was most likely being blackmailed like the other Kamunabi sorcerers during this arc, who were making a distraction for the Hishaku. So yeah, I doubt that a rando Kamunabi member would be the insider for the Hishaku. Well, unless we haven't been introduced to them and then we would get the reveal of their true affiliations. AKA, what I'm saying is that the character will play a role in the story for a little bit before the real true reveal. Like the reveal would be at least 5 chapters since they first appeared. Though, now it's time for the ones people are actually theorizing could be the traitor / would know practically everything the insider gave the Hishaku. And it's the actual leaders of the Kamunabi. 5 no-names: Ichiki, Izaru, Kubo, and Azami. Now, Kubo. Yeah, he's dead. So unless the Hishaku needed Hakuri for whatever reason, he probably wasn't the traitor. So let's move on to the 5 no-names. Firstly, Big Kahuna. I don't really think that he's the traitor. I mean, unless there's some sort of corruption or jealousy or whatever between him and Kunishige, I don't really see that he could be the informant, but who knows? Anything is possible at this point. The other no-names haven't really done anything TBH, so it's hard to predict if they're the insider or not. But yeah, I guess it's time for the last 3. Izaru. Now, I don't think he's the traitor. Well, unless he's playing mind games. Izaru was the one to capture the rando traitor who opened up the barrier so the rest of the Hishaku could enter inside the headquarters. So if Izaru was the traitor, then why would he have done that? Because he could have easily pretended that he just didn't see the no-name sorcerer or something like that. So Izaru, in my opinion, is cleared from the traitor watch. Now, the next one is interesting. He hasn't necessarily done anything to betray our trust in him, but between Ichiki and Big Kahuna, those are the ones I have the most suspicion on, assuming the traitor is a part of the higher-ups. Ichiki isn't necessarily untrustworthy, but I feel like he has a good chance of being the informant with the stuff he knows. And obviously all that he knows is also known by the other higher-ups, but I just think he's a little sus. But who am I kidding? Azami is the traitor. Everyone can tell. Kidding, of course. This was for Brazil Bro since he thinks Azami is the traitor. In all fairness, it would be a crazy twist if he was the traitor. But personally, I just don't believe it. He's like the least likely to have leaked Kunishige's location. Azami's basically like Kunishige's second BF. Like, Azami, Kunishige, and Chiba were all besties and shit. And like, the whole anger Azami had for the Hishaku and how close he was with Kunishige should just be enough proof that he wasn't an informant for the Hishaku. Azami is the least likely to be a traitor, and the most likely between the higher-ups is Ichiki and Big Kahuna. The other no-names haven't done anything, so I can't really say if it's any of them that are the traitor or not, and Izaru just doesn't seem to be that suspicious in my opinion. But what's left? Well, firstly, make sure to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it, and even subscribe to my channel. Anyways, I'm gonna go on to my crazy crackhead theory. I have to preface this, I am writing and recording this before chapter 93. So if it gets revealed, then I don't really care, I'm still gonna upload this. Anyways, to start, there was never a quote-unquote traitor to begin with. Now, I don't mean that the Hishaku knew everything and that they didn't need an insider, but that actually sounds like a kinda crazy theory. But my theory is, what if the quote-unquote traitor wasn't a traditional one, but the master swordsman? That is right. The informant was the wielder of the Magatsumi, Kunishige's Shinuchi, the master swordsman. He was the traitor the whole time. Obviously, that sounds crazy. Like, this Hishaku member said the conditions for Samura helping kill the contracted sword bearers were to tell him the identities of the Hishaku, where the enchanted blades are, and most importantly, who was the person who leaked Kunishige's location. Now, shouldn't that deconfirm the Master Swordsman? Cause the leaker doesn't seem like they would be someone like the Master Swordsman. But what if it is? Like, if the leaker was anyone aside from the Master Swordsman, I would have thought that Samura would have killed them since they're the reason Kunishige got killed. And, you know, the reason Chihiro became who he was. If it's the Master Swordsman, it can explain why Samura hasn't killed the leaker cause it's the motherfucking Master Swordsman. Like, how crazy would that reveal be? Though, my reasons go beyond the hype and insanity the reveal would be. Something that could give it away is the Master Swordsman connection with Yura of the Hishaku. Not only do they share very similar eyes, you know, the ones that look like the horseman eyes from Chainsaw Man. Sorry, had to bring it up. Their eyes have both been black/darkened. Even Uruha noticed the similarity between their eyes when he was fighting Yura. You know who else got eyes that turned black? Kiora Sazanami, when he was corrupted by the Magatsumi. Like, come on. You have to realize that there's a reason why Yura shares the same eyes as the Master Swordsman. So, what if Yura is being controlled by him? Or at least there's some sort of mental/spiritual connection with each other. Maybe with Datenseki? Yura had Sojo study it, which is why Yura gave Kurigumo to Sojo, I think. Not to mention, Sojo is almost likely to have had a connection with the Master Swordsman, as his flashback thing from the trauma sorcery made him think of this. So either way, it's clear that the Master Swordsman has a connection with the Hishaku, or even just Yura. Maybe the Master Swordsman was the one to found the Hishaku. But how could the Master Swordsman leak any information when he's been trapped and sealed in like the basement of the Kamunabi headquarters? Well, he's just that guy. Not gonna lie, he's just him. But I will give some possible explanations. Like, maybe the Master Swordsman could mind control people if they get close enough or something. Like, his connection with the Magatsumi is super strong. Like, they're so super compatible with each other that the Master Swordsman could use the Shinuchi's abilities without holding it. Or maybe he just listened to what the higher-ups were saying. He's like in the most secure location in all of headquarters. Maybe the higher-ups go chat nearby down there about important stuff like Kunishige's location. Plus, who would care if the Master Swordsman heard? It's not like he would tell anyone, right? Well, what if he told all that information he gathered to Yura, since they're definitely connected in one way or another? Or the Master Swordsman just really has good senses or something to where he was able to gather information all around him because he's that guy. But here's an even crazier thing, and the one that makes a lot of sense. What if the Master Swordsman detected the Magatsumi and told the Hishaku the location of where it was? If you need a reminder, all the enchanted blades, including the Shinuchi, were located with Kunishige. So maybe the Master Swordsman connection with the Shinuchi was able to give him the exact location of where Kunishige is, which then he gave to the Hishaku through his mental connection with Yura. But how could the Master Swordsman have the energy to do all of this? Like, we were told that he wasn't fed or anything in the area he was sealed in, which just barely gave him enough nutrients to live. But guess what? The last time we saw him, he got up and he was ready to go do whatever he wanted, like another malediction. Yura said it himself. He and the Hishaku were just a distraction. Like, what if Yura never planned on using the Magatsumi or any other enchanted blade for himself? Which is another reason he gave Sojo the first enchanted blade available. Yura never planned on using the Magatsumi. The whole plan was having the Master Swordsman do it himself. And maybe Yura is a puppet or some shit. Like mixing Hokuto's sorcery with some other type of sorcery. I mean, there isn't any rules against that, right? I just feel like we're on the verge of getting something big. I can just tell that we might get answers soon. Imagine the next chapter, aka the one that just happened, since this video is most likely being uploaded Tuesday, September 16. Oh shit, it's el Día de la Independencia de México. Feliz 16 de septiembre. Anyways, what I was saying is that the next chapter ends with the Master Swordsman doing something. Or maybe Chihiro and Samura finally arrive at headquarters to fight. Anyways, to wrap it all off, the Master Swordsman is the quote-unquote traitor. He was somehow able to get the information while relaying that info to Yura due to their spiritual/mental connection. I'd also like to add, what if the real reason why Yura gave the Magatsumi to Kiora for the auction was because Yura was planning on the Magatsumi being used there because he believed that there was a chance that people would, die to the malediction, and their energy/life force would be drained and absorbed by the Master Swordsman. Like how Highway Star from JoJo does it. Well, without the feet. But anyways, the real reason why the Master Swordsman was able to get up and will most likely be able to fight, even though it was said he was barely sustained enough to be kept alive, is because he absorbed the energy gained from the auction. Well, this is assuming that the Magatsumi would absorb people's life force. But that kind of sounds pretty hype, so that better be its ability. But yeah, TLDR, the Master Swordsman was the informant for the Hishaku. So yeah, that's it. I honestly had fun and enjoyed writing the script. I think my first full theory for Kagurabachi was def a success. I don't know if other people have thought that the Master Swordsman is the traitor, but hopefully you guys can see what I'm getting at. And like this video enough to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. And if you want to support me some more, why not super chat/super thanks me, or even become a channel member? Just click or tap that join or subscribe plus button to see if you would rather spend $1.99 or $2.99 for some cool perks, like seeing and getting to pick the thumbnails I make for my videos, cool emotes, a nice badge beside your name, and a shout out at the end of my videos. Tier 2 members get a full-on shout out, by the way. So anyways, thanks for watching.